Hello, everyone, and welcome to the November session. I'm going to share my screen. The topic for today is a very provocative one that it kept coming up over and over, and that is speaking from a place of strength. The reason this kept coming up is because it's such a dynamic world. There's so many changes going on with the economy, with the workplace, with the way people come in and out of the office, remote working, taking time off, all the virtual things that have changed with AI and automation, that it's changing the way that we communicate. And many times we have to communicate things to our team or to higher ups or to clients that may be a change or maybe a challenge or maybe something that's not such good news. And this kept coming up in individual coachings. So I designed this training, which is speaking from your strength, speaking from a place of strength. So let's go through it. We're going to go through several segments. We're going to start with accessing your strength. What does it mean, right? Where do you get your strength? And then there's three segments to speaking from strength: mindset, where you start from; clarity, how you prepare to make sure your message is crystal clear; and then delivery, how you actually communicate your message and your news or your change. And then I'm going to share with you a bonus page which has 8 tips to speaking from strength. So let's look at different ways we access our strength. First of all, always remember you're going to start whatever meeting or conversation with the intention of doing good and of doing good or positive for the collective, not just for yourself. When you start from that intention, that already is a very strong point because that's who you really are. And remember, all the actions you take, all the phrases you use are going to be for the benefit of the collective. That's one of the premises of soul guided leadership. Whatever you say or suggest or ideas that come, you are speaking from a place, a foundation, let's say, where it's going to benefit everyone. It's for the good of all. You're going into the meeting not with what do I get? What can I prosper? But what is going to be the benefit for the collective, for the whole group, whether it's a team, a client team, client group, or whether it's a board of directors, right? What's going to benefit everyone? And another thing that gets you in that core strength is to remember that you are unique. There's nobody else like you. There's no one else that can contribute to the world, to the meeting, to the conversation like you can. Because there's only one of you on the planet right now. So you have no competition. So don't stress too much or worry so much about what everyone else is doing, what everyone else is saying. And that's really been more of a challenge lately for many of us because there's so much out there. We're bombarded with messages from social media and the news and different kinds of mediums, right? So don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Remember, what you have to contribute is unique to you. So tune into that, and that's where you are your most powerful. Always see the good in others. So you may be having a meeting with someone who you know maybe doesn't match your rhythm or your communication style, whatever that is. Remember, there is good in everyone. So do your best to find the positive qualities in that person, in that company. There's always something good. Focus on that because it's always there. Quantum physics. Remember quantum physics. We talk about this a lot in Soul Guided Leadership. Like attracts like. So if you go into the meeting or the conversation, whether it's going to be some bad news or some news that you know that is going to trigger some emotions in them, always remember, if you go in with a positive attitude, of an attitude of this is going to be solved, it's going to go super easy and smooth, it's really happening and it's going to be fine, then they will have that same attitude. If you go in with the attitude of, oh my gosh, this is a nightmare problem, then they're going to have the same attitude. So you set the tone. Quantum physics, like attracts like. So you have the advantage because you're planning the conversation, the bullet points, the speaking points. So go into it with a good intention and always with what you want to see as the outcome. Trust that you are in this situation for a higher purpose. So there's no coincidences. Everything's in divine order. Everything has a purpose. So you're there in that meeting to communicate whatever needs to be with a good intention and for the good of all. Remember, you are part and connected to a big collective, right? And at the end of the day, remember, it's a person-to-person connection that you're making. That's why it's called soul-guided leadership. No matter what the business is or the industry or how big the contract is, at the end of the day, you're connecting people to people. So you're going to go into the meeting with, what can I do to make this better? What can I do to communicate it in a way that it will be received, right, in a positive, open-hearted way? Remember, it's a person-to-person connection. And a final one, which I think is very interesting and I found in many writings, is honesty is a spiritual power. When we are completely honest, speaking from our soul, right, completely transparent, that's when we are the most powerful. Why? Because that's who you really are. So just be honest, right? If you've been worried about it, or if you know this is going to be difficult for them to transition, just be honest about it. Speak from your heart, speak from your soul, and it will reach their heart. So these are ways we access our strength. Let's look at the 3 segments. Mindset, how you start. Clarity, how you prepare, right? Getting all your thoughts in order, making it easy. And delivery, how you say it. There's different things of what you say and how you say. Many times you can be giving very difficult news, but it's how you say it that is received. Very important. Let's look at the first one. Having a strength mindset, a mindset to start from a place of strength. Remember and remind yourself, you are here to help them. You're here to make their life easier no matter what it is. You are here to help them with a real need that they have. There's a reason they hired you. There's a reason they're doing business with you. So remind yourself, what is it I can do to make their life easier, to help them? Number 2, anchor into your purpose. What does that mean? Remember, we wrote our personal mission statements, right? Mine is helping people connect with their magnificence. So I tune into that. Okay, I'm here to help people connect with how brilliant they are. So there's a golden thread of everything I say. I have that as a foundation in the back of my mind. I anchor to my purpose. So connect to your calling. If your calling is to help people grow and develop, then connect with that. If your calling is to help people who really want to learn and they're at the precipice of going to the next phase of their life, tune into that. Anchor to your purpose. 3, use change to deepen the relationship. We all have been through major life transitions. throughout our lives, right? That is the point where you really learn what you're made of. And you learn a lot about how strong you are and how much more you can handle than you thought you could. Guess what? You also learn about them. So it's a really great opportunity when there's change to strengthen that bond, that relationship you have with them. Change is just means you're graduating to the next level of your relationship. It's like you've done all the groundwork. Now it's time to graduate. So use it as an opportunity, not as a big problem, but as a door that's being opened for you to discover who you are and who they are. What else? On strengthening your mindset, navigate with confidence. So, whatever it is you have to communicate, make sure you do it with clarity and confidence because there's a reason it's happening, right? And so, you want to move forward with a sense of security and confidence. The more confident and secure you feel, the more they will feel the same way. Don't go in with hesitation and I don't know how this is going to work and headquarters brought this change. Nothing like that. If you waver and if you're doubtful, they will be too. Quantum physics, like attracts like. And then finally, always go into the meeting or the conversation, phone call. I'm here to make their life better. I'm here to see what I can do in the next hour meeting to make their life easier and smoother. That's how you strengthen relationships. The focus is on them. All right. Let's look at segment 2, clarity, my favorite. How you prepare. So important. First of all, put yourself in their position. So if I'm going in and meeting with a person named Jonathan, I'm going to think to myself, what does Jonathan care about? What's his communication style? Does he like a lot of details? Or is he a more visionary person? Does he like me to just use bullet points? Does he like me to go quickly? Or should I say 2 or 3 things and then wait? So put yourself in their position and how they like to communicate and receive information. Second, always articulate the why. Why is this change happening? Or why is this process, right, going to be different from what it was before? Why are the prices increasing? There's always a reason, and it's usually pretty logical. So just speak from your heart and explain it very clearly and make sure you give them enough time to digest the changes. The other one, prepare clear talking points. You see how I've done this? I put 4 bullet points and I talk about each one. This means you have to be extra prepared. Instead of writing paragraphs and paragraphs, right? Just know what are your 4 or 5 key talking points that you want to make sure and clarify with your client. Preparation breeds confidence because you know your stuff, right? Paint the picture. Paint the picture for them. This means connecting the dots. This is how it's going to work. This is what we're going to change. This is how beautifully it's going to be implemented. So many times they don't see the whole transgression of the path. So it's up to us as the people leading, as the people of impact, of influence, to paint the picture and connect the dots for them. Always make it easy for them to understand. Next, 3, delivery. How you communicate it. So important. I love this first one. Your energy is the message before your words. What does that mean? That means the more empathetic you are to how the message is going to be received, the better it will be received. So you're going to go in with an energy of confidence, an energy of security, an energy of clarity. You've thought it through. You appreciate your client, right? They can choose to work with anybody, but they've chosen you. So you're going to go in with, I'm so grateful that we work together. I know this is a change. This is how it's going to work, and it's going to be fine. Go in with positive energy of abundance, and that will actually influence their reaction even more than your words. You can say beautiful words, but if your energy is that of fear, doubt, and it's going to be difficult, they will also pick that up. Very important. Speak knowing it truly matters. In other words, many times I've seen meetings like this when we go in to communicate something that's a change, price increase, schedule change, a process change, meaning it'll take longer, whatever. Just saying it off the cuff. And the client is so insulted because to them, it's really important. So you're going to go in speaking with words, letting them know you know it's important. Dear Mr. Client, I know this is such a priority for you because the timing is crucial in your deadlines. So this is a very important change, and I know it's a priority for you. Use phrases letting them know that you know it's important and it really matters to them. Because if it matters to them, it matters to you because you're partners, right? Always remember your nonverbal communication. This means your body language, facial expressions, the tone of your voice. They should always match your intention. If you care, you're sitting up straight. If you're positive, you're smiling, your eyes are bright, you're clear with your words. So remember, everything they see, everything they feel is part of what they're receiving. So your nonverbal communication should always be in alignment with your overall intention. Pause with confidence. This is a crucial one that many people don't do. Silence and pace can be very powerful. So remember, take your time. People who take their time, right, always appear more confident. Why? Because you're not afraid of questions. You're not fearful or trying to run over them so they don't have any objections. You're fine. You're grounded. You're confident. So take your time, pause. If you see they don't understand something or they may want to explore one step a little further, pause. Ask them, what part of this would you like me to review? Or is there anything that's not clear, right? Make sure the connection, the line of communication is consistent. Always focus on them. And finally, so important, listen. Listen with all your senses, not just what they're saying, not just their questions, but also their energy, their body language. Listen to all of it and then give them the solution or together come up with the solution. Many times, especially in sales, we go to the solution too fast. Doesn't give them enough time to process it. Because remember, you've been planning the conversation, you've processed it. They haven't had as much time. So make sure you listen, everything you're saying, they're saying, everything you're not saying, and everything they're not saying. And then go to solution mode. So those are the three segments, right? Again, strength, mindset, clarity, and delivery. Mindset, clarity, delivery, always. I'm going to leave you with some phrases just to give you some ideas and prime the pump. And you'll have your own phrases in your own industry. These communicate inclusion and confidence. These are just some samples. The way we work is this. As partners, we're going to continue to do blah, 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 right? Partners plants the seed of inclusion. We're with you every step. The process we use is this. Let's go through it together. We're here to support you every step of the way. We will do blank, blank, blank. Our best option is blank, 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 right? These are the reasons why. Be really clear and transparent with this. There's nothing to hide. Here's why it's a benefit to you. Talk about the benefits for the company, for them personally, for their business, for their team. We have a global network and an established business of whatever, 55 years. This gives us a strong reach. So we're able to offer the best terms and the most options. This is a really good phrase to use if you're in sales, to show them that you are going to support them for a long time, every step of the way. And again, make sure you communicate that you're grateful. I'm so grateful to have you as a client. I'm grateful you guys are listening to this. This is a partnership. So we want to make sure you're 100% satisfied. We believe in a win-win result. I know these seem like very common sense, but many times people don't say them. They don't verbalize them. And people need to hear them so they have time to process. They can be very, very powerful when you say, we're in this as partners. So I'm going to be with you, cheering you on every step of the way. We need to say these type of phrases. So I'm going to leave you with 8 tips for speaking from strength. And I'll send you this specific slide separately so it's easy and handy for you to access. Number 1, prepare your mind and prepare your message. When you do this, that equals confidence. 2, get grounded. What does that mean? Your nervous system affects your clarity. Now, whether that's go take 5, 3 deep breaths out in the air before you start your meeting, or whether it means visualize yourself in bright light, or whether it means, thinking about them in a very positive way and think of their 3 top qualities. This gets you grounded. Remember who you are. Repeat your personal mission statement. That can also get you grounded. Set a clear intention. So you're going to visualize yourself, them being very open-minded, engaged. You're going to visualize the conversation going very smoothly. Picture the outcome you want. 4, we mentioned this before, speak slowly and deliberately. What does that mean? Eliminate any fluff words. I think, probably, maybe, forget about that. Be precise and deliberate with the words you use and the energy you enter the meeting with. Again, number 5, remove any fillers. A lot of times we go into all kinds of unnecessary explanations and personal stuff. Sometimes it's okay to bring in personal stuff about how they're feeling, but remember your speaking points. If you have 3 or 4 or 5 bullet points in your mind, stick to those. This will help them follow you as you explain whatever it is you're explaining. Remove all the fillers. This phrase here on number 5, apologize only if there has been an error. If your team or you or your company has made a big mistake, own it. Own it, bring it up, solve it, right? But make sure you don't deflect from it. People don't like this. They know you've made a mistake. Just admit it and move on. Show them how you're going to fix it, how it's easy to fix, how you realize it has caused some pain points in them. Just own it. If there hasn't been any mistake, but it's just a market change, you don't need to apologize. Just explain the why and the process to solve it. That's what point number 5 is referring to. Number 6, bring generosity to your communication. Always go in with a generous heart, right? What can I do to make this easier? They may have another idea that you can add to your solution to make it even easier. Be open to this. Be generous. Review their motivators and their style prior to the meeting. Review it in your mind. Okay, I know Jonathan is really busy. He likes me to get to the point. So I'm just going to review the top 3 bullet points and I'm going to tell him the why, right? Or, well, I know that Marilyn likes to really talk about the future of the company and the vision. So I'm going to start with how this impacts the vision. Focus on their style, their motivators, not what you want to accomplish, but what they need to hear, what they would like to hear. That's what number 7 is about. And then finally, it's so powerful. Stay connected to your breath. Your breath is a power source. Interesting, very simple, but very, very profound. Your breath is the first thing that brings you into this world, and it's the last thing when you leave. So your emotions, your energy, how you communicate is directly connected to your breath. It's one of your power sources. So remember to stay connected with that. Don't do any shallow breathing. So doing some breathing before you communicate something, let's say difficult or challenging, is very useful. So remember the 3 segments. Remember your 8 tips. I will send you this because clarity is power. Good luck with this, and I'll see you at the next session.